Hi, I'm Andrew, and this is Blaster Breakdown. Today I'll be showing you inside my favourite blaster, the SuperSonic Retaliator. This is a HPA semi-automatic blaster powered by Spectre's Supercore. You may have seen this blaster in action in some of my gameplay footage. Let's have a look. Okay, so here we have all the components laid out: the shell, stock, rails, barrel, but of course the heart of this blaster is the Supercore itself. If you haven't already seen it, I'd suggest watching my breakdown of my SpeXBZ Spirit Breach Gear Up Recon. Now the Supercore uses the same quick exhaust valve that the SpeXBZ uses. Here it is here. And of course that's the component that flips when you pull the trigger to shoot air out the way you want it and fire your dart. And this connects to the trigger and air inlet using standard 6mm line and push fits. The other components of the Supercore are the main body of the tank itself, which is threaded front and back. We've got the pusher. That's a sliding piece that chambers darts into the receiver. And we've got the internal stem similar to the SpeXBZ, and the back of this is what presses against the quick exhaust valve for firing. The internal stem has a tip which screws into place and has an O-ring, and this is what seals against the inside of the shifting pusher piece. And now that this is screwed in place all the way, it's in the perfect position to seal against the quick exhaust valve diaphragm at the back here. And then the rear piece screws in just like so. Now the pusher piece has a tip that screws in to the end like this, a couple of O-rings for air seals. And this is the main moving part of the entire assembly. I use the silicone oil that Liam has recommended. Now you may have seen the holes in the disc that holds the inner stem in place. That's what allows air through and forces the pusher forward when the tank is pressurized. And the pusher is pressed forward into the receiver piece. This is what a new receiver looks like. One end accepts the pusher to chamber a dart, and the pusher O-ring forms an air seal. The other end of the receiver is threaded to receive a barrel. So once again, when the tank is pressurized, the pusher is forced forward, chambering a dart. When we press the trigger, air exhausts, firing the dart, and the pusher retracts back into the tank thanks to this spring. And we're ready to chamber and fire another dart. And the front piece holds the spring in, keeps the pusher straight, and seals up the assembly. And so that's how the Supercore works. When we press the trigger, air exhausts through the front, firing a dart. Pusher retracts back, ready to chamber the next dart as the core is repressurized. So when I attach my air supply, the pusher immediately goes forward as the unit is pressurized. And you can see with each press of the valve, the unit cycles. So the Supercore fits into a Retaliator or Recon shell in a very similar way to the SpeXBZ. I've got a slightly different arrangement of pieces than I had in my previous video with the Gear Up Recon. But the principle is the same. Air comes in the bottom, goes through the MJVO3 valve, and then through to the back of the core. So to fit that in, I've ground out space at the back, similar to an expanded plunger tube, with a few holes ground out for the air line to come through, and then space for the MJVO3 valve. And the trigger fits in just like so. Now the receiver has a few 3D printed pieces. One is the 3D printed muzzle piece or dart gate that holds the receiver in place, and the other is a little funnel piece. This helps darts load smoothly as it transitions the inner diameter of the receiver to that of the barrel that will be screwed into the end. So the funnel is glued inside the receiver, and the receiver is glued inside the muzzle piece. And both of those are printed by Dean at Blaster Tech. And this screws in place just like the stock muzzle piece does. Now when I put a Talon adapter in place, you can see that the receiver sits just over the front lip of the adapter. You want the end of the receiver to overlap this inner edge right to the inside edge of a Talon magazine itself. So you need to check your alignment before you glue it into the muzzle piece. And with the Talon adapter back in place, you can see just how neatly this core is engineered. It really is millimeter perfect. And there we are. So we've got our airline in at the bottom of the grip, muzzle piece, and I've kept the slide just because. And so if I connect the air now, we'll see if it works. There we are, very nice. Now to the stock barrel piece, I've got some Gavin Fuzzy 3D printed pieces and a 350mm Monkey Mods threaded barrel. And of course the thread matches the inside of the receiver piece that's already in place. Now the end strike attachment can be a little bit loose, so I've used another screw through the bottom here to help hold it in nice and firm. At the back, of course, we've got the airline passing through the stock attachment. So for the cap I've made a little hole and done the same thing for this adjustable stock. Now because I've got the top slide in place, I only need a little spacer at the end to hold the Picatinny rail in place. This is one that I painted white, and then the standard worker Picatinny rail slides over the whole thing with a few different ways of attaching. At the front, top and bottom, I just cut a bit of an angle to match the front barrel pieces. As you can see, the worker translucent blue pieces match the Sonic Ice colouring perfectly. I've got a rubber grip and then an angled foregrip that I like to fix fairly close to the magwell. And the final piece is the scar barrel. This is an anodized aluminium one made again by Spectre. It has 12 notches and holes for the string, so you can use any arrangement you like to string it up. And of course a female thread that matches the end of the barrel. And there we are. Let's test it out once again. And you can see that cycling perfectly. So there you have it. That's SuperSonic, my HPA semi-automatic super-core powered blaster. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any comments or questions below. See you next time.